Hi art historians, welcome back. This is a week 2 summary video, and I first wanted to start out by mentioning some notes. We'll talk about what we covered this week. I'll bring up some awesome discussion posts and then just clarify some quiz questions. So first and foremost, I really want to make sure that everybody's aware we need to be turning in notes, discussions, and formal analysis. Those are really the required or essential assignments for this course. And so what ends up happening as per the syllabus is that a certain amount of low grades will drop for those notes, and a certain amount will do so for the discussions, but I believe it's only one, so far fewer. So what that means is that if you don't do as well on a notes assignment as you were hoping, or you don't turn it in for 1 week, a certain amount of those grades will drop. But if you don't submit 7 weeks of notes in a row, that starts to affect your attendance in class, so we need to get more on top of turning those in. They're really essential to learning art history, and so I just ask that we be a little bit more on top of that particular assignment for this course. Now, the other thing that you're going to be working on are the discussions, and these are a non-negotiable. We are an online class. We can't have these conversations in person. We need those discussions in order to facilitate conversation with our peers and our classmates about art history. So don't forget to post in your discussion boards each week, and please don't forget to comment on what your other classmates write so that way we can really get that conversation going. All right, so now I did do some redos of some documents that I think will help you going forward. First and foremost, we have that notes document. Make sure that you are filling in everything we need to, and every week, folks, no exception, we need a note sheet for every single core work. And it is suggested that you do one for 1 or 2 of those supplementals if they're there. Going forward, I'm going to grade these as pass-fail as they originally should have been for the first and second week. I gave everybody a little bit of a chance to kind of get in the groove, and so I gave half credit. But if I don't see all of those core works included, I'm going to just give it a 0 out of 9. If you have all of them, then it's a 9 out of 9. Super simple. Now, the other template I made was the self-guided explorations. If you haven't already, please use that going forward. I think it'll make your lives easier as well as my own for grading, so I really appreciate that. All right, so now what we're going to discuss for today is a couple of different things. So this week we covered the Ottoman Empire as well as the first couple parts of the medieval world, which included the Hiberno-Saxon art as well as the Carolingian and the Etonian artwork. Now you had a couple of quizzes and there were a couple of questions or some things that people got consistently incorrect, so I want to just clarify some of that information. Our Module 4 quiz, now everybody wrote down that this was a liturgical manuscript, or some people did at least in that multiple choice question. This is the plaque with JC and 4 evangelists, and this is really an altarpiece, and a lot of times these texts were used as such, so it's important to clarify that as well. Now, the next thing that we want to talk about here is how the Module 3 quiz, we want to take a look at how the Sutton Hill was a Celtic hill fort, and I would like to specifically define that for you so that way it makes a little bit more clear. So if we go and take a look, that definition, a Celtic hill fort, it implies that they are defended spaces, usually by banks or ditches and placed on hilltops. And so the reason that this is a little bit more accurate is because it is a larger site outside of just that ship alone, and so that's why that answer is just a little bit more correct than the one that maybe some of you put. All right, so now let's talk about our discussion board. This week we had some really great responses, some really great conversations, but again, folks, these are not optional, so I need us to really get on top of finishing and really making sure that we're doing a good job with these, because again, this is how you get to interact with your classmates. All right, so first I want to comment that Bon, the heaviness of the medieval artwork, I couldn't agree more. It's so heavy and intense and dark and thick and scary, and that was such a good way to describe this particular era of the medieval world within the context of art history. Now we have Dion, who talked about how the symbolism within the piece of artwork left him breathless, the plaque of JC and the 4 evangelists. I thought that was just such a good way to describe that, and I really want to commend you for being so eloquent and descriptive in your response in the discussion. Grace, I love that you also mentioned that this examining these artworks brought it into a whole new light. Again, such a wonderful way of describing just a mere 15 minutes of staring further at a piece of artwork. It's so wonderful what is revealed to us at the end of the day. Now we have Diane, who talked about how care and belief is genuinely its art form in relation to the Ottoman prayer carpet. And again, could not have said this any better. The impact is how important this actual object was, which almost outshines the detail that went into it, but not quite, because those carpets are pretty impressive. And last but not least, we have Corey, who really appreciated the fact that in images of the Mary, especially with the plaque of the Virgin as the personification of the church, the animals almost represented and emphasized her strength and might. And I love that you brought that up. I think it was a really great way to describe how bold and strong this version of Mary is to this particular work of art. Outstanding job, folks, on this curate and exhibition writing response. I could not be more proud. It was so much fun to read through all your work and see all of the amazing ideas. Seriously, it was like actually a total joy to grade. Not work at all. I thought you had an amazing different themes. I loved how you combined artworks together. That was so much fun to read through, so thank you. All right, and I think that about wraps up our video, so I hope everybody had a fabulous week 2. Enjoy week 3, and at this point, all your work is graded, so please reach out if you have any questions or concerns. I am here to provide whatever assistance I can. So for now, I'll talk to everybody later, and have a lovely rest of your night and week. Bye, everyone.